Let's turn now to the World Economic Forum in Davos, where business and political leaders are meeting to discuss the big issues facing the global economy. Our business editor Stephen Carroll joins us now. Stephen, let's start with that very recent announcement made by the French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire in Davos that Carlos Ghosn has now officially resigned from Renault.
It's, of course, ahead of the board meeting, which is going to discuss replacing him as chairman and CEO. Bruno Le Maire making that announcement in a TV interview earlier this morning here in Davos. The finance minister holding a press conference at the moment in the Congress Centre behind me, officially focusing on France's priorities for the G7, but there's bound to be questions about Carlos Ghosn being asked in there as well. Carlos Ghosn, of course, someone that we're used to seeing in Davos. He's been called the epitome of Davos man in the past. He's been here for many, many years, and someone that we've interviewed on France 24 many times as well. So it is something that I suppose people are conscious of, his absence, as he's facing those charges of financial misconduct at Nissan in Japan. Bruno Le Maire, though, continuing his day with meetings today. Of course, the French President Emmanuel Macron not attending Davos this year, so Bruno Le Maire taking up many of the meetings that perhaps he would have had. He's going to be meeting with Bill Gates later on today. He's also meeting the Turkish finance minister, for example. He's going to be meeting Christine Lagarde from the IMF later on as well. And this, of course, at a time that France is trying to push its attractiveness as a destination to investors, as many politicians do when they come to Davos. They're dealing with, some 1,700 business leaders attending this conference. They want to put their best foot forward and try to pitch their country as a destination to invest in. The French government agency that's charged with attracting foreign investment to France is called Business France. We've been speaking to their chairman, Pascal Cagni. I was asking him whether investors are worried about the yellow vest protests in France, whether that's damaging the image of the country to foreign investors. Let's take a listen.
Would they basically talk to it? I would be worried, right? They need to talk to it because they've seen the medias, they've seen the front covers, and it was actually violent. But in the meantime, you cannot just accept that a handful numbers of small, very violent people, right, basically drive the show and basically define or change the image of our country. So the reasons I am here, we're all here, essentially is to basically entertain a dialogue, debate, discuss, explain that yes, it's serious, but in some way that was the way France basically has been dealing with the rise of populism and the unrest, and also something that's of a country like Italy have been going in different ways, not mentioning our friends in England, right, which decided to essentially go through the Brexit.
One of the measures the government is working on is tax on major digital companies. You're somebody who worked for Apple in the past. Do you think this is something that is going to perhaps discourage investment from those sort of companies?
No, the truth of the matters is that we need to develop or to need to learn a new word, right? For 2 or 3 decades, and I've been at the center of that, the world have changed, right? The digital changed pretty much everything. So we haven't yet adapted the frameworks that we have in terms of regulations, in the ability to basically deal with revenue which are immaterial today in their essence. So we need to continue this journey. Now, who is going to be discouraged? The GAFAs, the truth of the matters, they find in Europe, with in excess of 550 million inhabitants, a large market, which is extremely profitable, extremely well educated. The truth of the matter, the GAFAs essentially recognize that maybe we need to ensure there is no unbalance between the local incumbent players as themselves, right? For all of these reasons, I don't think it's an issue. And I also don't think that is an issue for the rest, in all respect. Many of the companies are favoring a kind of reset of the tax systems for these companies.
But it wasn't agreed at a European level, so France is going ahead. Are you afraid that could disadvantage France when it comes to competing for foreign investment with other European countries?
Microsoft announced big things on Monday night, more R&D. Facebook and Google have been doing more than hundreds of jobs openings, right? They know that the talent of the French for the IA is critical. So I think they will play with it. They will deal with it. The truth of the matters is a new unknown, which finally is going to be clarified. And yes, France wants to move because I believe it's also what our people are requiring.
On the issue of Brexit, we know that the companies have been choosing new homes in Europe. How is France doing on winning Brexit business?
We've been spending the last months to explain that we're not anxiously trying to basically pull business out of the UK. The hard fact, there is no answer to some players in UK. You are also, if you are in the financial community, right, you need to be able to continue to operate in Europe. In this respect, yes, we benefit, and we will essentially benefit in the future of some displacement of employment.
That's Pascal Cagni there from Business France. We'll be speaking to Bruno Le Maire on France 24 a little bit later. That interview on air at 16:45 Paris time in a special edition of People and Profit from Davos. Plenty more coming up, of course, the World Economic Forum later today. We're going to be hearing from the Secretary General of the United Nations. We also have the British Finance Minister, Philip Hammond, is here as well, so we can expect to hear plenty more about Brexit through the day as well.
I have no doubt, Stephen. For now, thanks indeed, Stephen Carroll, there, our business editor, reporting for us throughout the week from that World Economic Forum in Davos.